So here are my ideas. I know that most of you just put your money into funds with Alan, so they may not be particularly relevant. If you want a copy of these slides, I think Alan will have them, or you can get them from Anthony Chow, who's at the back of the room here. I mentioned I bought into Greece. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I think there's some upside there. And I like Hewlett-Packard because it's an old dinosaur that's reinventing itself and it's splitting. It hasn't been a good investment so far, but I'm quite confident that with a new technology it's called Mritso, this could be a very good investment. Fanuc is a company, when I was a young fund manager in Japan, I used to visit, and there were robots making robots now. I mean, I don't know what the situation is now. It must be robots making robots making robots. But I can tell you there are now things called mother bots, and these are robots that then produce more little robots, and it's like a mother looking over her flock or her litter, and she watches the little robots going around, and she decides which ones are going to be allowed to go on, and those which will be culled. That's happening right now. This is the mother bot concept, where they learn from other robots and by machine learning, and they become better, and their evolutionary process is taking place that way, much the same way as our evolutionary process took place. KUKA is a German robotics company, and again, I think that's one for the long term. Short the Swiss franc against anything, short Switzerland in general against anything. Don't go to Cloisters and don't buy a cup of tea. I've been short Apple since the beginning of this year. Apple was the most valuable company in the world, and it had just become too hyped, and everything they put out was going to be sensational and wonderful and so forth. And when I bought the Apple Watch, I knew the game was up, because it's an absolute load of rubbish. It sits in my house in Ibiza. I look at it and think, that's £700 down the drain. Why did I do that? I've wasted more than £700 on other things. Raven Russia is a company that, it's a British listed company that has properties in Russia, and they rent them out in US dollars, which is not a good thing when the ruble is depreciating as fast as it is. I mean, Russian GDP is falling at 5% a year. And it's an example of how a dollar of debt can sink a ship, because I think Raven Russia will probably go bust in the next few years because it's got too much debt, and the Russian economy is not going to improve anytime soon. And in fact, it's entirely possible that Vladimir could do something really foolish, like taking over one of the Baltic states, which is another thing to worry about at night.